Originally, 14 states consider the TCI, as my other colleagues had mentioned. Connecticut recently chose not to pass this legislation this year, leaving only Massachusetts and Washington, D.C., and now possibly Rhode Island. New Hampshire and Maine have said that they want no part in it. This new gas tax will increase the cost of gasoline anywhere from, the estimates say, up to 38 cents per gallon over the next 5 years. This will inevitably lead to higher operating costs for businesses, both large and small, which will lead to increased costs on goods like groceries and clothing and other necessities, which the consumers will no doubt have to absorb by paying this TCI tax at every turn, everything they consume and every time they drive their vehicle. Morally, it would be cruel to impose this fuel tax on Rhode Islanders because the affluent can afford the new tax. But who will bear the burden of this tax? It will be the poor and the middle class. There will be fewer family trips to the beach in the summer and less extracurricular activities for families to participate in. And these family budgets will be centered around how much they can afford because they will have less disposable income. This will especially harm rural residents, putting an unfair burden on communities like mine whose residents need to use a vehicle to get to work, penalizing them because they choose to live in a rural community. Also, we all know of ourselves or our family members that travel across state lines to get gasoline somewhere else where it's cheaper. I lived in East Providence for almost my entire life, and every gas station in Seekonk had gas that was considerably less, and you saw the Rhode Island plates lined up for gasoline. So there will be, I believe, a larger flight of these vehicles leaving the state for cheaper gas in Connecticut, which normally doesn't really have cheaper gas. But if we implement this and the rest of the region isn't, then we're only setting ourselves up for failure. The health equity zones, I'd like to think that we want this equity in the entire state, not just Providence. And I was pulling up Brown University information on the Superfund sites in Rhode Island, and they're across the state. So communities like mine, North Smithfield has a Superfund site, Johnston, North Providence. So I hate the divisiveness of the language where we're pitting communities against each other and individuals against each other. So I'd ask my colleagues not to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz.